What's up, guys? It's John with National Sports Entertainment, and I thought it'd be a good time to go into tomorrow's college festivities. There's a good bit of teams, more than two handful of teams that I like for one reason or another, and I thought it'd be a good time just to recap. We have two games in progress. Essentially, unless we have some pretty bad luck sometimes, so obviously anything can happen. But both teams we have are almost double digits. We got the Suns and we got the Kings here. So if one of these two were to hold and split, it's not a bad night because we uh, we ran the Spurs under leg three, so that's 4 units for leg three for the night that we lost because it was like 225 and a half, and as you can see, we got backdoor overed. However, we also only have four leg twos in play today. That's for 2 units. So those four were the Celtics cover, which we got, these two, the Suns and the Kings, and again, I think we'll get them both. But even if we split them, that's fine. And we got the fourth one. We got the Pistons cover and the Sixers. What was a backdoor cover that went our way. So we had them go our way. I'll take it. The Hornets came back at the end. That was only for 1 unit. We got them. We got the Rockets. They were only 1 unit. And then we missed the Jazz and we missed the Spurs winning 1 unit. We got the Mavs. So it'll be a nice green day with both of these teams winning. Suns and Kings, well, covering, I should say. Suns covering. But even a split, and we will still have profited very slightly on the day. So not a bad day. Hopefully they'll both hold. But like I said, this is about tomorrow's games and just some metric plays. Mostly metric plays. A couple of these plays are, as you know, I've been fading the undefeated teams. We did it a couple weeks. I only started it 3 weeks ago because we had so many undefeated teams. And my logic is we're not going to have 5, 6 undefeated teams rolling into the final week. We're getting pretty close now. So coincidentally, we have some possible upset alerts. And we went with Kansas a few weeks back. I think we rolled with them over Oklahoma or one of those teams that was undefeated. We got them, but we only got them. We didn't get any other ones. So it was about a break even. And then the very next week, we got Army, which was big. It was like 7.5 to 1. But it was the only one we got again. So, like I had said before, as long as we split as far as the undefeated fades I'm taking, even if we get one of them, it's usually going to break us even. But I'd really like to get two. And I think this week is going to be our best chance by far to get two. So, just going through them. The first one that jumps out to me is Michigan at Penn State. Obviously, I love Penn State to win. You got the scandal going on. It's going to be in Penn State. The fans are going to be really watching this game at the fine-tooth comb. And maybe if Michigan wins, maybe that's the story. They can kind of deflect a lot of the scripted behavior onto cheating coaches. But I don't think so. I think this is a great way to 4-point spread. I guess you could say it's about a fair spread. I think you get a top 5 ranked, top 3 team ranked undefeated. And it's still kind of light. I think more people are going to be on them. So I like Penn State here for the straight up win. And basically I'm doing this with all undefeated teams. I'm fading them all, I think, except Ohio State, just because I know they're not going to pay that out. Vandy, I'm taking them to cover the spread because of metrics. They are 1-9 against the spread or something like that. Sometimes you'll have like one team finish with a loss against the spread, or only one loss, only one win against the spread. Typically, even the worst team will have two. So I think Vandy, because of that and the fact the public will probably be taking South Carolina to cover the 14, I like Vandy to cover the 14. I have a good bit of plays, so I'll be going into them. And again, I always go into them in more detail, going into the exact unit amounts, etc. But I just wanted to go into what's sticking out and who I like, and as far as the different reasons. So Liberty, Old Dominion. I'm just blindly taking Old Dominion. I don't think Liberty. They could, I guess. I get they're different. They're like James Madison. The difference is James Madison has a history of doing this. Liberty really does not. But regardless, I don't think they're both going to be undefeated. I just don't. Just like Air Force lost, I think Liberty's going to lose. I think James Madison will probably stay undefeated. I'm not fading them, but I am taking Old Dominion. And you're getting good odds on it, so I like the value. Like a sucker, I'm sticking with Colorado. You're getting about plus 300, and I just think they've made them look bad enough. Even if you might argue, oh, the public, they might be chasing them or whatever the case may be. I don't think these odds are great for chasing. So for me, I like them because I don't think the public's going to love them. It is around 300, 310, depending on your book. But as bad as Colorado has been against a ranked team, I don't know if the public is going to jump on them, not getting at least 400. And even if people do take, even if people are on Colorado, Vegas has made a lot of money off people this year because of Colorado. They could certainly pay a little of it back. Again, to get Dion a break-even season, a 6-6 season or something like that. I just don't think he's going to finish 4-8, 5-7. He can, of course, but I think they're going to get a win here and move to 500. By the way, I did look into the 11-11, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe all the undefeated teams win, so they move to 10-0, right? 1-0. But again, it's not 1-1, but it's close. But I've noticed with Gematria very, very often, actually all the time, it can go both ways. So that's the reason I, had some of these teams been 10-0 and then they can move to 11-0, or whatever the case may be. If it was like early in the season, and you have teams that can go, they can move to 1-1, things like that. I'd be more on it. But since it's, there's not many numbers lining up outside of like advanced gematria, I'm not really looking too much into the 1-1. I'm sure it'll play a role, but a lot of the gematria comes out after the fact anyway. Just look at if there's any more like top matchups. Like Tennessee, Missouri, I'm sure people would like to see ones like that. Utah, Washington. I'm taking teams. So actually, this is another one. I'm sorry. So this is going to be a late ad. And you're looking at about plus 250, probably closer to plus 275 here. But I'm going to add this one. So, Washington undefeated. I don't think that continues. I think Utah is going to beat Washington. So, again, I'm just fading the undefeated teams. I think we got like 7 or 8 of them. I think there's going to be at least 2 of them that lose. So, I like Utah to win straight up against Washington. Here's the next one, Miami. I have them beating Florida State. And again, that goal here isn't to have a hit rate of, 75%. The goal here is if we can even close a couple of these, obviously, since they pay well, we're going to be in really good shape. So that's another one I like. And Ole Miss, I like them to beat Georgia. I think that's probably the least likely, but again, it's the line, it's the same exact line almost as Utah. So, I mean, it's not a crazy line. Ole Miss is good, as you can see, 8-1. So, I could definitely see the Bulldogs losing a game here. Again, I'm not saying all these teams are going to lose, but even if a couple of them lose, then to me, that makes a lot more sense. So, Florida LSU is my favorite play. I'm not going to play Michigan State. Most books don't even have a money line option for this 31.5. LSU, Florida, I actually like, as you probably know, the under. LSU has yet to go under all year. I do not think they are going to defy history and not go under and go over every single game. Sure, they could. I just don't see it happening. So, essentially, those are all my plays. There might be a couple. Let me see. And I'm just going to add this one. So, yeah, there's a couple. Penn State was, I went over that one. New Mexico, Boise was one I hadn't mentioned. I like that as a leg, 2 for 2 units. Both of these teams have gone over essentially every game this year. And I'm just going to add this one for... Like I said, you're looking at about the same odds as we just saw with the... which game was it? The Ole Miss Georgia game. It really depends on your book. Like I said, you're probably getting closer to like unless you're getting juiced hard, you're probably getting a little over 300. So while I'm in here, I just figure anyone that sees it, I want to make sure I correct everything in time. All right, there we go. So this was one that the second I saw it while doing the video here, I noticed I had overlooked it before. So there we go. Utah beats Washington. So just going over all of them. I think we actually had exactly 11. It wasn't by design. I just happened to have 11 that I really liked. So now we got 12. So Arizona, Colorado going over. Obviously, I have Colorado winning that game like I went into. The reason I like the over is because Arizona's only gone over once this year. So I think, especially, and the fact that Colorado's kind of tapered off where they've been having these shootouts, I don't think the public's going to be hammering the over, although the over still might get hit. So I like it as just a leg 1-for-1 unit, and we're double dipping that game because we also have Colorado winning, like I said. Old Mini, and we got them winning. That's 420. Miami, as I went into. I got USC covering. Oregon's only been covered once this year. So, again, I think even though it's 16 points and you might say, everyone's going to be on USC, probably even the money line. You could be right. But Oregon's looked really strong this year. And for narrative purposes, I think they want to keep it kind of close. I mean, you could definitely get a blowout because the public might be on USC. But they've looked pretty rough these last couple weeks now, so whatever, maybe it was a penance for Caleb or something like that, but I think they'll at least make this cover. So, Ole Miss, I like them to beat Georgia, like I said. And USC, Oregon, I hope this isn't becoming a fallacy for me, but I look at the spread and it looks so high, 76.5. But then I realize USC's scoring 40 points by the half, like every single game by themselves, it seems like. So I figure, the public, even at 76.5, might start seeing, okay, well, they're scoring relentlessly and bet the over. So we'll have to see if it happens. Obviously, the last couple weeks it hasn't. USC's continued to go over. But this game, I think they'll go under. Because between these two teams, I think people are expecting a 40 piece from each of them. So I think the under is really safe. So that's going to be a leg 2 for 2 units. As always, I put the unit amounts. Penn State, I made that one a leg 2 because I think it has the highest shot of hitting. And it's a good net if it does. It's almost a 2-to-1. And we're doing it for 2 units. So it's going to pay more, obviously. So I like that one. I went into the New Mexico, Boise State under. Both of these teams have gone over for the majority of this year. So I think the public will be on the over. And I think the public will be on, like I said, the Gamecocks to cover because Vandy's been so terrible covering. And my favorite play is the under here. LSU has yet to go under all year. Like I said, I just don't think they're going to defy history here and move to, would be a 9, 10, and 0, something like that against on the over, putting them a win or two. A over or 2 away from being the only team that I could find in the last couple decades. I haven't found any that when I looked in the last couple decades that have gone over or under every single game in a full schedule. So, as I said earlier, I think we have some good high value picks in there. We really just need 2 of the upsets to come through, and I definitely think that they will. I tried to pick them in a way that, again, I think our best value plays are leg 2 for the Penn State. And then the ones that have a harder shot at hitting, I made them just for 1 unit. And I think they all have a pretty good shot at hitting. And again, speaking of that, tonight should be a good night because it's looking like we got a pretty good chance of hitting all of our leg 2s. I don't like to jinx us, but or at the very worst, we'll get 3 of the 4, which of course more than mitigates the leg 3 loss for the Spurs, which again, never fun. We had under 225.5, so never fun to get clipped, but we got a couple clips of our own. Clips / comebacks, Rockets, Hornets. Sixers was a nice clip because, again, that was a leg 2 for 2 units, so those are important as well. And it was looking like the Sixers, were going to hold it, and then out of nowhere, the the Pistons just, the Sixers fouled them a couple times, missed a couple convenient free throws, and the 8.5 point spread was exact. And this is what I mean when I go into the spreads, why I match up the ESPN spread. It's like there's some kind of unwritten rule, I swear, where whatever the ESPN spread is, especially Philly was undefeated against the spread this year. This is now their first loss against the spread, and it just happens to be a clip here on ESPN. Now, if you go to CBS, if you go to Action, if you go to different books, you might not see 8.5. You might see 9. You might see 9.5. ESPN always seems to have the exact spread and like a perfect clip, especially for teams that have a really good record against it or a really bad record against it. I just noticed that like last year at some point, so I don't think it's a coincidence. It happened again recently with I think it was the Nets or a team. Tonight wasn't quite a clip. We got it by a couple points, but they were also undefeated against the spread. That's why I took the Celtics to cover. Again, you just don't have teams get to 10-0 even against the spread. Last year it was 0-6. I think the the Blazers actually opened up covering the most spreads. Them or the Kings, they were like 5-0. Then they lost their first spread. So I don't think there are any. So now there's none. There's no team left that has yet to cover an over, yet to cover an under, yet to cover a spread, or yet to be covered. So essentially every team has at least one time gone over, under, been covered, or covered a spread. And that's just what happens. That's why I like these metrics. So it should be a good night, like I said. It'd be pretty bad luck if both the Kings and Suns blew their leads. Of course, anything could happen, but I think we'll be good. And I think we'll have a good day tomorrow. Again, between Michigan, Penn State, I like Penn State a lot. I think Colorado's got a shot. I think Miami's got a shot. I really like Utah. So a lot of these teams, I think we'll definitely get at least one of them. And then, of course, I'll have our Sunday picks out at some point tomorrow. So take care, everybody, and happy earnings.